Hey guys, it's Laura. I'm coming to you from St. Paul's Christian Church, and Amanda is helping me video this. I had the pleasure of meeting many of you last summer at Camp Caroline for the CYF camp, and if you remember, I actually taught a yoga class then. And I had plans to do that again this year, to be with you at CYF camp and Camp Caroline, but COVID kind of changed that, didn't it? Needless to say, we are doing everything virtual now. So they've asked me to record a video for a yoga class and share it with you. So I'm glad to do that, and I hope you guys will participate and enjoy the class with me. Yoga in Sanskrit means to yoke or to unite. And the definition of yoga to me actually kind of reminds me of a song, and it's a song that I learned as a young girl. Sang it in youth group, in worship, and in many church camps over the years. It's a song you all know. They'll know we are Christians. And if you think about the chorus, we are one in the Spirit and we are one in the Lord, that song resonates with me in my yoga practice, because yoga means to engage and to get involved, to participate, to connect. You see, yoga is a process. It's active. It's the way we engage with the world to create harmony. And yoga is how we participate and create relationships. So that's kind of like being the church together. It's kind of like being one in the Spirit. It's kind of like sharing one love. So I hope you'll practice with me, as I said. You're at home. You may be outdoors as I am. If you are, you will need a yoga mat or a blanket or a towel. If you're indoors, a carpeted room would be fine. And then also you may need a support. If you want to be near a wall, I actually have a tree nearby if I need to reach out to for a little support, because today's class we're going to focus on balancing. So that's the focus of today's class, and balancing poses and kind of balancing life right now. So once you have all of your equipment and you're set up, we are actually going to begin standing up. So if you will make your way up to standing, I'm going to pull my hair up, make sure it's out of the way. So the first pose that we're actually going to practice, or we're going to do together, is called mountain pose. Mountain pose, the Tadasana, the Sanskrit word is Tadasana, means standing at attention or mountain pose. So I'm going to ask you to actually stand and pay attention to the way you're standing. So first, look down at your feet. See that your feet are hip distance apart. And then also see maybe if your feet are turned out, or maybe if your feet are turned in. I want you to bring them parallel. And then just notice that you might lean from one side or the other. So try to find that balance of centering your weight. And then if you're like me, because I have to actually look at what I'm doing, if you look down at your feet, and then with your feet active, I want you to lift all 10 toes up and away from the floor. Yeah, and then notice how your toes, some toes might lift a little higher, some toes might not lift high enough, but just notice that. And then with the toes lifted, I want you to spread your toes as wide as you can. See, like I said, I have to look down at my toes and say spread toes. And then notice how your toes spread. One foot, my toes spread really wide. The other foot, not so much. And then with the toes spread, I want you to let them all come back down to the earth at the same time. And then just notice the energy there. Go ahead and start to focus on pressing the toe mounds, which is the forefoot, the areas beneath the toes, and the heels into the ground. And when you do that, notice there's a little lift in the arches of your feet. So that's the kind of energy that we're going to use to draw up from the earth. So pressing the toe mounds and the heels into the earth, lift the arches. Feel the energy start to come up the legs, into your calves, into your knees. And then let that energy continue to rise up, lifting your kneecaps and contracting your quadriceps. And then continue pulling that energy up from the earth so that you're lifting your low belly in and up. And then when you do that, notice your heart lifts a little bit. And then continue with that energy flowing across your chest, right in front of your shoulders, and then start to move the energy down your arms. So much so that you start to turn your palms towards me. And then just as you did with your toes, I want you to spread your fingers. And then continue with that energy up the arms, through the chest, through the sides of the neck, and then out the top of the head. So the sides of the neck are long, the back of the head lifts, and you lengthen up through the crown of the head. Now, did you hold your breath? Because if you did, I want you to breathe. So continue with that energetic body where you are in space in your Tadasana. And then I'm going to ask you to just close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, just notice what happens in your body. Without your eyes to help you balance, you may notice that you're swaying a little bit from side to side. You may notice the weight shift in your feet. Not that I want you to change or do anything about it, I just want you to notice. Inhale here, and then as you exhale, just slowly let the eyelids flutter open. You can soften your Tadasana and your mountain pose, relaxing the hands. And then from here, we're going to advance a little bit more into what we call Urdhva Hastasana. So stand in your Tadasana, and then start to bring your arms up slowly by your ears. So the palms turn and face each other, the fingertips reach to the sky. Go ahead and let your shoulders lift up. So you're rooting down with your feet, and you're reaching up through your fingertips. Now when you do this, pull the belly in and reach as tall as you can. And sometimes, just like I say, I have to look at my feet. Sometimes it helps me to look up at my hands to really get that reach. We're going to soften a little bit. I want you to lower the arms down in front. You can turn the palms down and then start to soften the knees a little bit. Now sit the weight back. We're going to sit back in an imaginary chair. So move slow, sit back into the chair. Again, look at your feet. See that your knees are behind your toes. Maybe you can lift your toes a little bit. Sit the weight into the heels. Now pull the belly in just a little bit, especially if you're feeling a little low back discomfort. So pull the belly in just a little bit. And then we're going to slowly straighten the legs and lift the arms up into Urdhva Hastasana again. So turn the palms forward, reach the fingers up. Now we're going to add a little balance challenge here. So in a balance, it always helps to find a spot on the floor in front of you to focus on. Don't focus on me, focus on the spot in the floor and listen to my voice. Reach up through the fingertips on an inhale, and as you exhale, slowly lift the heels away from the floor. Now, you don't have to come high up onto the tippy toes. I really want you to come and balance on the toe mounds and the front of your foot, the forefoot. So the fingers still reach. Are you holding your breath? Make sure you breathe in and out. And just lift the heels. Notice how that changes the pose. Notice the balance in your body and how it kicks in. All right, release the heels down, lower the arms back in front again. We're going to sit back down into a chair pose. So sit the weight into the heels, your imaginary chair. Your feet are still hip distance apart. The weight is in the heels now. The knees are behind the toes. We're going to change that a little bit. So the knees are going to come forward a little bit because, again, find your focal point on the floor in front of you and then lift your heels up. Again, they don't go very far, but you should feel the engagement in your calves. And again, once again, you feel that balance challenge coming in. Slowly release the heels, slowly straighten the legs, and release the arms. Ooh, that already warmed you up, right? So roll the shoulders around. The next place we're going to come down is onto our mat. So I want you to make your way down onto your mats and come into your hands into your knees, which is what we call a table pose. So the hands are beneath the shoulders, the knees are beneath the hips. Release the tops of the feet into the mat to begin with. Let the toes go. So when balancing table, we alternate arm and leg. So I want you to extend that right leg back behind you. Leave the toe mounds on the floor to begin with. And then from here, when you're ready, lift that right heel and just see that that right heel lifts no higher than your right hip. Lengthen out through the right heel. Lift the chest up off the arms and pull that belly in. Reach out through that back heel. Again, Don't look at me, look at the floor in front of you, in front of your mat. And then when you're ready, let's add the opposite arm. So the left arm reaches forward. So the left palm faces your midline or the center of your body, the left thumb is up. And the left arm is pretty much by your left ear. Now, pull the belly in to support that low back, and again, just lift the chest up off of that right arm. And then release that. Come back to center, hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Let's go to the other side. So reach the left leg out long, left toe stay on the floor. Press the left heel back a little bit, just so that you can feel that calf stretch in the left leg. And then slowly release the left toes from the mat. Lift that left heel just no higher than that left hip. Notice all 5 toes point down to the floor, and you lengthen out through that left heel. Pull the belly in, lift the chest up off your arms. Find your spot on the floor that you can focus on, and then release that right arm forward. And again, the right thumb is up, the right palm faces the midline. So it's not about how high you lift, it's how much you can reach. Pull the belly in, reach in opposite directions. And release that back down. Hands and knees. So now from here, we're going to transition to Adho Mukha Svanasana, which is downward facing dog. So move the hands a little bit further forward on the mat, and then tuck the toes, lift the knees away from the earth, and lift the hips up and back, and take your downward facing dog. So in down dog, the hands are shoulder distance apart, the feet are hip distance apart. Think of your body as an upside down V. So the sitting bones, wave your tail, wag your tail like a dog does. The sitting bones lift. The side body stays long. Now, if your hamstrings are tight, which is the backs of your legs, bend the knees. If you can straighten the legs any amount and let the heels come down to the floor towards the ground, they don't need to touch, just as long as you feel a good stretch. Chest pressing to the thighs, sitting bones lifting. So from here, we're going to transition into a low lunge on the right. So if you need to drop to the knees to bring that right leg forward, do so. And then bring the right leg forward so that now you're in a low lunge on the right. Now in this low lunge, the right knee stays over the right ankle. The hands can be on either side of the right foot. And then the left knee is back. All right, so move that left knee back so that you get a nice stretch. You're trying to work that left thigh down towards the floor. So once you have that, you feel the good stretch, we're going to bring the hands up to the right thigh. So bring the hands up to the right thigh. And then move the shoulders back a little bit. Yeah. Pull that right hip back a little bit. Pull that left hip forward a little bit. You should feel a lot of energy in the hips and the pelvis. So this may be just enough of a challenge for you for a balance. But we're going to do like we did in the standing pose of Tadasana. Start to look down to the floor. Know where you are in space. And then if you're okay, see if you can close your eyes here. Whoa. And just notice what happens. So when we balance, especially when we do balancing poses where we lower the lids and we take the vision out of our balance, we hold our breath. So remember to breathe. But notice that you sway a little bit, just like I am, and it's okay to open the eyes a little bit to see where you are in space to find your balance, and then try closing your eyes again. Just see what happens in your body. Slowly open the eyes. From here, let's bring the hands down to the mat or to the earth beside the right foot, both on the right foot. We're going to get a little hamstring stretch here. So you're just going to straighten the right leg and move the hips back over the left knee. So straighten the right leg and move the hips over the back left knee. Walk the hands back. So I like to play with this pose a little bit because it's a hamstring stretch, but it also works the ankle. So when you point the toes forward, you get a nice stretch in the ankle. Then when you slowly start to pull the toes up, you get a big old stretch in the back of this leg, which is your hamstring muscle. And then from there, I want you to contract like we did in Tadasana. Contract the quadricep and lift that right kneecap. Pull those toes up. So in yoga, we move slowly. Slowly release this pose. You don't want to shock the muscles, cause any injuries. when you're ready, I want you to tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Step the right leg back, downward facing dog. So again, in your downward facing dog, think of an upside down V. Hands shoulder distance, feet hip distance. Sitting bones, tailbone lifting, and then the heels descending, chest pressing towards your thighs. So we're going to do that whole sequence on the left side. So if you need to drop to the knees to bring that left leg forward, please do so. If you can bring that left leg up between the hands and reach back with your hands and pull the left leg forward, you can do that as well. Release the right knee down. Then again, take a few moments. See that the knee and the ankle are in line. And then you want that back right knee to be further back on the mat so you get a nice hip flexor stretch. And once you have all that, bring the hands up to the left thigh. When you bring the hands up to the left thigh, I want you to move your shoulders back over your hips just a little bit, but still press that left knee forward. And then notice I'm already feeling a little rocky just with my eyes open in this pose, so I'm not sure how the closing the eyes are going to go. But when you're ready, start to lower the lids down and find your spot on the floor so that you're focusing there. And then if you feel stable, see what closing your eyes does. And again, like I said, you may need to open them to regain your balance, so please do that. And then also, as balance is true in so many other things in life, it's different on one side of the body than the other. So if you're keeping your eyes closed, gently, softly open the lids up just a little bit. Release the hands to the ground or to the mat on either side of the left foot. Again, we're going to do that. This is actually half of a split. So I want you to move the hips back so that you straighten that left leg. So the hips come over the back right knee. The hips come over the back right knee. And then at first, point the toes down to the mat to get that nice ankle stretch. And then we will reverse that. So just be careful and move slow here because this is a big hamstring stretch and you may feel the sensations in the back of that left leg. Contract that quadricep, lift that kneecap, pull the toes up. So remember the sequence. We're going to come back a little bit later on and practice it. Put it a little bit more with some fluid movement and also add a little balance work into that as well. And then slowly release. Bend that left knee, walk the hands forward, tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, and step that left leg back into downward facing dog. So again, and down dog, I like to say you can pedal the feet, bend the knees one by one. You've heard me say it's okay to wag your tail. So lift those sitting bones, pedal the feet, bend the knees, do what feels good for you. Now we're going to transition to standing pose. So I want you to walk the feet up towards your hands. And then drop in. Let the head go, let it be heavy. From here we're going to transition slowly, rolling up into standing. So bring the hands to the hips, soften the knees, tuck the chin and roll all the way up to standing. And then add the arms out and up when you're ready. Reach the arms up, look up if you like. And then let the palms come together and lower the hands down to the heart center. This is called prayer pose, Anjali Mudra. So in our standing poses now, we're actually going to work some balanced standing poses. So if this is where you need to transition to a wall and find a wall or find the tree, then that's where I want you to go. So we're going to do 3 standing poses and we'll go from side to side. So we'll start with the weight into the right leg. So for me, bending that right knee a little bit helps a lot so I can press all 4 corners into the mat. Lift the left heel up. And then when you're ready, we're going to do a variation of crane pose. You can bring your hands to your hips. When you're ready, I want you to bring that left knee up so that the left knee is level with the left hip. So you should have a 90-degree bend at that left knee in front of you. I want you to pull your left toes up. So crane pose. Standing on one leg. You've seen cranes do this many times. They do it with ease and grace, yeah? Sometimes not so in our world, but remember to breathe. Focus on that spot. And if you come out, step right back up and join us again. You slowly start to release that foot down to the earth. Pedal the feet a little bit, bend the knees a little bit. We're going to go right over to the other side. So now the weight is in the left leg. Soften the left knee a little bit. Come up onto the right heel. Find your spot on the floor. And when you're ready, start to release that knee all the way up. See if you can bring it up level with the hip. See if you can bring a 90-degree bend behind this knee, and then pull those right toes up. Find your spot and breathe. And remember, if you have to put the foot on the floor, do it to find your balance and then come back and join us. It's just like what you did when you first learned to ride a bike. You fell, you got down, you got off, and you got right back on and started all over again, right? And release that foot down. All right, pedal the feet. We've got 2 more poses. The next one is going to be a little bit more of a challenge with the balance, so you definitely may want to find the wall there. We're going to balance onto the right leg, so soften the right knee just a little bit. You're going to take that left ankle to the outside of the right leg. So release that left foot up, cross that ankle on the outside of that right leg, and I want you to bend that right knee. So you can bring the hands to the hips, you can bring the arms out if that helps your balance. I like to find a little prayer pose here. So you're flexing the left toes, you're opening the left knee out, and you're sinking the right the hips down towards that right ankle, bending that right knee. Slowly straighten that right leg, uncross the left, come back to standing. That was a tough one, wasn't it? Pedal the feet if you need to. Laugh at yourself a little bit if you need to. This can be fun. All right, so let's go over to the other side. So soften the left knee just a little bit. This time the right ankle is going to cross to the outside of the left leg. Flex those toes and then start to descend, bending that left knee a little bit, sinking the hips straight down. Again, hands to the hips, arms out if that helps. Find the wall if you need to, or the tree. For me, I like Anjali Mudra. Prayer pose. And straighten that leg and release. We have one more. What will we be outside next to the trees without tree pose? So different variations of tree pose. We're going to stand on the right leg to begin with. Soften the right knee, plant that right foot. Let's turn the left knee out and place the left heel on the right leg. This is where we begin in our tree pose. So that foot can climb up that leg any amount. If you're going to bring it up a little higher and bring it on the calf, please do that. If you want to bring it up a little higher, you can reach down with that left hand and pull that left foot up to the inside of the right leg. So I just don't want it on the knee joint. And then there's several things you can do in your tree pose. Again, Anjali Mudra. You can reach the arms up, just like the tree, waving in the wind. Wherever you place your hands is fine, but then decide on where you want to be with that. And just pause here for just a moment. One more adjustment that I'm going to ask you to make. Press that outer right hip into that left foot, and then press that left foot into that right thigh. Makes you grow a little bit, yeah? Tree pose. Vrikshasana. If you lifted the arms, lower them down, and then gently release that left foot back down to the earth. Pedal the feet. We've got one more side to do. And when you're ready, let's focus on this left leg. Turn the right knee out. Let the right heel rest somewhere on that left ankle to begin with. Find your spot, find your balance, find your breath. And then you work this right foot up, maybe to the calf, maybe reaching down with that right hand and placing that right foot along the inside of the left leg. And then find your hand position. Hands into prayer, hands to the hips. If you want to grow your tree, please do so. And again, make sure you're breathing. If you fall out, find your balance and join us again. If you lifted your arms, lower them down, and then gently release that right foot and come back to equal standing. All right, so we're done with the standing balance poses, but we are going to go back down. I said we were going to do one more low lunging sequence, and we're going to do a table sequence with flow and a little bit of balance. So let's come back down onto your hands and to your knees. Hands beneath the shoulders and knees beneath the hips. So we're going to do the alternate arm, alternate leg. So we're going to do a little flow, add a little bit more balance work into there. So let's start with the right leg back and the left arm forward. So notice I have my right toe still on the floor. So the flow is to lift that right heel away from the floor. This would be an inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring that elbow and the knee together. So if you can let them touch, keep that right arm straight. Inhale, reach that left arm and the right leg back out. Now on the exhale, I'm going to ask you to bend that right knee, reach that left arm out, and then see if you can reach around and touch the hand to the foot. It's back there somewhere, yeah? And then release. Left arm, right leg straight. Inhale, reach. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach the arm and the leg out long. And then exhale, bend the knee, reach the arm around, and just touch your foot. You don't need to hold on to it, just touch it. Let's do it one more time. Inhale, arm and leg long. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach that arm and the leg out long. And then exhale, bend the knee, reach the arm around, touch your foot. And then release. Arm and leg goes out long. And now from here, bringing the hand and the knee down to the mat. Go ahead and bring your toe mounds, your big toes together, separate your knees a little bit, and move the hips back and take what we call a nice child's pose. Walk the fingers forward, spread the palms, sink the hips back towards your heels, let the head go. So we still have one more side, so come on up to all fours. From here, adjust those hands beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. Let's extend that left leg out long. Keep the left toe on the floor to begin with. Now reach the right arm forward. Lift the left heel. Find your breath. Inhale, reach. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach the arm and the leg out long. As you exhale, bend the knee, reach the arm around, and touch your foot. There it is. Again, inhale, arm and leg reach. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, arm and the leg reach out long. Exhale, bend the knee, reach the hand around, touch your foot. Oh, there it is. One more time. Inhale, arm and leg long. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, arm and leg reach. Exhale, reach around, fingers touch that foot. Arm and the leg reach out long. And then the hand and the knee come back down to the earth. So now from here, let's bring the hands forward on the mat. Tuck your toes and lift your hips and take your downward facing dog. Stretch out that low back. Press the chest towards the thighs. Lift the tailbone, lift the sitting bones, and let the heels descend. So we're going to come back to that low lunge sequence. So if you need to drop to the knees to bring that right leg forward, please do so. If the right leg only comes up to here, take the hands and reach around and pull that right leg forward. Drop that left knee down. We'll go ahead and bring the hands up to the right thigh to begin with. And then from here, we're actually going to reach one arm and then the other arm. And notice how that challenges your balance. And then lastly, if you want to challenge a little more, I'm not going to ask you to close your eyes. I'm going to ask you to start to lift the gaze up towards the sky between the hands. So that does challenge the balance a little bit. Now we're going to transition into that half of a split. We call it half monkey God pose. So if you want to bring the hands down to the earth and touch the ground, you can do that. I'm going to challenge you a little bit by leaving your hands away from the earth. Start to move the hips back and straighten that front leg, the right leg, and maybe bring the arms behind you. Ooh. And then we return to low lunge. So bend the right knee, place the right foot on the floor, bring that right knee over that right ankle, sweep the arms up one more time, up by the ears, maybe lift the gaze. And again, if lift of the gaze throws you off your balance, then focus on the floor in front of you. and release. Hands come down to the floor. They frame that right foot. Tuck the left toes. Lift the left knee. Step the right leg back. Downward facing dog. Again, pedal the feet. If you need to drop to the knees and take a child's pose, that's always an option for you. Stretch out that right leg. You should have been feeling some work in that right leg. So we have the left side to do. So drop to the knees if you need to. Again, if you can bring that left leg forward between the hands, get it there, reach the hand around, pull it all the way up, and then drop the right knee in. Release the top of the right foot, bring that knee over that ankle, and then again, let's bring the hands up to the thigh. So find your balance. So your balance is also in that back right foot. The top of the right foot's pressing to help you balance. So use it. Slowly add one arm up, and then add the other arm up. And see how you feel. Gauge your balance, check the floor, and then start to, when you're ready, maybe start to lift the gaze up. Spread the fingers, look up between the hands, breathe here. Again, lower the eyes if this is too much, or you're too wobbly. So lower the gaze and lower the arms down. So again, I said you can place the hands on the floor if you want to. I'm going to challenge the balance a little bit by straightening that left leg, moving the hips back over the right knee, straightening that left leg, and pulling the left toes up. And then we return to the low lunge, placing that left foot on the floor, bringing the left knee all the way over that left ankle, bringing the arms up by the ears if that works, and then maybe the gaze will lift again. And the hands come down to the earth. They frame that front foot. Tuck the right toes, lift the right knee. Step the left leg back, briefly into down dog. And then from your down dog, go ahead and drop to the knees. Toes together, knees apart. Take your child's pose, the hips move back. Let the forehead come down. And I'm looking up to talk to you, so I want you to let your forehead come down so that you can hear me. And then one by one, I want you to bring your arms in by your legs. Let the shoulders go. Let yourself rest. One by one, bring the hands in underneath the shoulders. And then slowly press your chest away from your thighs. So this concludes the actual physical practice of our class. But in traditional yoga classes, we always take a few moments to sit or to recline and rest in a shavasana. So today what I'm going to do, you can rest. You can roll onto your backs. I'm certainly fine with that. But for today, what I'm going to do is just offer up a seated Sukhasana meditation. So either sit in a comfortable seat, either roll down onto your backs and rest with your eyes closed. Find your comfortable seat. Wherever you are, close your eyes. Start to tune in to your breath. Share one last little reading, one last little meditation with you. There is evidence that trees communicate over great expanses, sending nourishment, messages, and support. And they do all this grounded in place, unable to speak, reach out, or move around. We are like that right now, separate, unable to touch, yet deeply connected and sharing our love over these distances. A love that shines and radiates out of the very root of our being. So traditionally in yoga, we end the class by bringing the hands into prayer pose, palms pressing together, thumbs to the heart center. And at the end of our class, we traditionally say a namaste. But I'd also like to add an amen to that. So to each of you, shine your beautiful light, share your radiant love, peace, namaste, and